beautiful people. Let's drop that down a little bit, actually. So as you can see, it's jumper weather again. But this is England, and we haven't really had much of a summer. So that is why I am fully dressed up. But either way, this is really a stream about taking photos in a world where you can't actually pause it. I'm not brave enough to say that this is a stream where I'm going to try and take action shots, because that's a very difficult thing to do. I am going to try, but that's not the main focus of this. It's really a step closer to real photography, where in the real world you've got to see a shot, plan for it, and get all your settings ready for when the subject enters the frame. So that is my thought process. But first of all, I just got myself a new gun. So I need to change that one. And I've got quite a few guns, as you can see. But I just want to try this one, and then we'll get on with photography. But this is an online game, and as a result of it, there is no pause, because you would interrupt other people's games. I mean, I am the only one real person here at the moment, but say if I was playing with a friend, for example, or if someone wished to join me, that's when pause would be disruptive to the other person. Now this isn't the best build for taking photos, because it's a raid build, because the guys at GC Rock really were fantastic and took me through the whole, well, two raids actually, and that's how I've got the Eagle Bearer, because one of them, it dropped for them and they gave it to me because they already have one, which I thought was lovely. By the way, that's enough of my process of not self-discovery, but of discovery. And as you can see by my almost instinctive actions, this is a looter-shooter type game. So I'm going to jump to a skill build. And what I want, I'm not going to use the Hive. Greatly entertaining to use, and a very good way to keep yourself safe if you're taking photographs of, I don't know, buildings, plants, statues, or something like that. So you don't want to be distracted, because I have the setting whereas when I'm in camera mode or photo mode, if I get shot, it will take me out of it so I can deal with the danger and come back in. But what I'm going to use is the decoy, because I've never used this in photography before. So the idea is I've got the drone, which I can use to focus on certain enemies, and that will distract them away from me, which will hopefully allow me to take action shots of enemies shooting, of them. Sorry, I'm looking around while talking. Or just piquing their interest when they see it for the first time. I mean, I don't know what shots I'm going to get. I mean, I'm currently looking around, because I always do. What is that? It's not a threat, that's fine. Because there's a very big drone in this game, which is very, very challenging. So instantly, I like that light, because I'm a sucker for rays of light. And I'm just going to have a look at how that plays on him, which I think quite well. So now we've got this nice negative space, but it's actually an opportunity for a frame as well. There's some strange artifacts going on there, so I know that I need to move him. Problem is I don't want to move too far and risk losing the light playing on his face. Oops. I'm trying to overcome a lot of muscle memory here. Now that's very interesting, because there's a lot of noise in that. So I think we may have actually lost that opportunity because the sun has moved. I'm going to move him back a little bit. This is one last ditch. No, it's just too low. As you can see, there's a lot of... It effectively looks like noise more than anything else. And being the opportunist that I am going to grab anything that I could potentially need in the future while I'm at it. Now this is an interesting spot. So we've got some of our guys here, and they are in conflict. But that does mean that I'm not particularly anyone's focus at the moment. Apart from this person's. So I've got quite a limited space here. I'm trying to frame some nice pictures. Now there's no way I can do any adjustments in this live world, but there may be a chance I'll get a nice flare or something. So they've sent something off, but I don't think they've seen me. But I am now almost completely away from all action. So, time to move. Oh, I can't allow that. They've really opened it. I don't know why I did that. I don't actually care about it at all. And now I've got their attention, it will make things slightly challenging. Now I've been shot at. Just as I told you, it does automatically pull me out of camera mode when I'm in trouble. So, got those guys over there, so I need to keep them occupied. This lady is a risk now. Okay, so while we've got these people over here, whom was that? That's one of our guys. The only enemies we have are over here. And I am going to place my decoy here and see what happens. So let's get rid of my drone, because I don't want to keep them away. And more controls. Zoom in. That's what I want. Ah. Almost got it. I'm just taking a few shots, really. So we've got a fair bit of negative space, but he's facing this way, which is why I'm setting it up this way. Okay, so that was mildly interesting. Again, quite a bit of negative space. I'm just going to take this cheeky shot when he's in a more interesting position.
Incoming hostiles detected.
So again, I'm going to put my decoy down. Damn.
Vital signs critical. Detecting additional hostile contacts.
And this is the challenge of taking photos in an open world. But as I get better, or more practiced, I'll be able to get better shots. But that's one of the things that I am aiming for in this game. So, next.
Hostiles orbiting a supply drop.
Yeah, still not that fussed about the supply drop. Let's see if we can find some randoms. And in the meantime, we'll also look for interesting photos. Because this world is littered with them. Very, very interesting things like this building, for example. I think it's quite attractive. I think the tree is a bit overpowering. Let's see what we can do with this lamppost, though. That closes it in a little bit too much, but it does hide the tree. Let's try a lower angle. So I don't particularly like that. Let's try a higher one. And there are, as with in all games, limits to how much movement you have. That truck, I don't think I'll be able to get around. I am now looking at possible abstract images. I don't know if you could get away with a abstract image, but I am fairly interested in the writing on the door. I do need to pull back a bit. And it's fairly well framed.
Agent requesting backup.
Maybe I can't drop down any further. And the idea is I'm trying to work out where the third would be. I'm going to give myself plenty of space. I think the upwards angle and it pointing away from me. Oh, I cannot do this on camera. I think that works. I don't believe I'll get the entire building in there, but that's not the idea. So it doesn't matter if I lose the right-hand side of this building. I think that the pillars, the stonework, and the graffiti, as well as the bolts and the door, are what make this, and to some extent that tree as well. I mean, if I had settings, then I would most likely do some, like lift the shadows, that sort of thing, to bring more detail out. But we're just warming up here. A lot of the photos that I take do not make it to Instagram, but they start my inspiration. So there's quite a few shots there. And I'm going to zoom right in on this one. And just wait. I think... Oh. Again, challenge of shooting in an open world. Now, obviously, my...
Serious trauma detected. Agent vital signs 0.
Before I was rudely interrupted, obviously that my decoy had died then. Now I'm wondering if I'm trying too hard. I saw an opportunity and went for it, but it didn't necessarily mean it was the right opportunity. These are not our friends. This is a very interesting character. So I'm going to get a little... Well, I was going to try and get a little bit ahead, but I've reached the limit of where I can move to. Frame him a little bit better. This one here is kind of cool. Doing some very strange things. I'm just looking for interesting angles, and this one is just throwing all kinds of shapes. This one looks a little bit unhinged as well, actually. So I'm just trying to... I mean, he's settled a little bit. Come on, give me a look. So it's doing the same pattern by looks of it. I like the contrast with this character here. Missed that one. Okay, got a few shots there. I didn't even have to throw out my skill. Some more characters here, but I have nowhere to hide. So we're going to go here. Heard something, but didn't see it, so that's fine. Let's just wait. Because that's not a great shot. Just double check. These guys are going to have a bad time. So these are my characters. This one here is an enemy. Again, taking as many shots as possible. She has nice eyes. Now it's on. Well, they did that. I don't think that makes a good shot. I do not see the other enemies. Let's help our guys out though.
Enemy incoming!
Immediate medical assistance needed.
drone is basically distracting this thing. I'm out of range, unfortunately. So, let's try this way. Because I did see them appear. Lost them again. I'm not overly optimistic, but never do know. Okay, they've seen me. That makes things difficult.
Sneaky bastards!
Too slow. But we did help our people, so that's a good thing. Now this is a very interesting light. Gives it a certain coldness to it, but I rather like that. So now we've got good conditions because we've got a nice foggy day. We have some bright lights. So now we just need to find something interesting. Well, I say foggy, it's actually just really heavy rain. And this is where I think possibly I should have played Ghost of Tsushima instead, because that has some great lighting. And it's far more adaptable as well. What have we got on here? Nothing too interesting. Ignoring the dead body. How does this affect my character? With his rather wet, shiny head. So some good shadows there. Some great negative space if I can place it. Maybe a little bit higher. Don't know what that is. Very, very strange. So we'll move away from that. This is going to be quite challenging actually. Is getting it where there's a interesting pose and some good light on him. And no smoke in front of, or fog in front of his face. But you can see look at his nose, it distorts somewhat, so there's some sort of a bug going on there. Because that's not a facial expression. So we've grabbed that. I'm just going to drop lower. Get this light out of there. And again we're going for negative space. Although that tree's in the way. As you can see just behind his head. It's not a tree, but we'll just move it there. And again you've got that strange warping going on. Which is very challenging. But anyway. With all these anomalies going on. But yeah, even though it's quite poor visibility, I rather like that. It allows for some interesting photos, potentially. So I'm just going to hide by this hut and go into photo mode and see what I can find. too obvious. That's quite a wind if you look at the bush there. So I don't have much angles to play with. Interesting tree. Nope, going to have to move. The sign did grab my attention, but I don't think I'll be able to do anything with that, but you never know till you try. No. Although, rather like that. Just having the SH maybe. Bit of Christmas. I do need to zoom back. We'll see how that turns out. I'm now rather liking how the light's hitting this, together with the texture in the background. So let's see. I wanted to incorporate that a little bit more coherently. Because some of that's quite messy, but a little bit of it rather works. Is there a roll in this? Tilt right. Bit extreme, but that should work. Do a bit more right, because I don't want too much of the wooden structure there. As you can see, the weather has changed. I'm going to zoom out a bit. Bring the angle up. Nope. Try that. So, the thought behind that, you've got interesting top part here, good flooring. In the background, you've got this Washington market. You've got the Santa's hat, a little bit of Christmas, so it'll be identifiable what the or when the sign was put out. So those are the elements that will make up that picture when I come to crop and edit it. Just looking on here to see if there are any actual reflections or if it's just lighting effects. I mean, this is year 5 now, so it's not a new game. Trying to remember when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. So I think this is newer than that. Or is it? No, that was 2018. Yeah, they're similar age, I'd say. I think it was 2018 was Red Dead Redemption 2. See if there's anything interesting here. And I know it's just leftovers and so on, but never do know. The fact that there's takeaway cups shows how long it's been since people have been in here. I'm going to have a look at those lights because something there grabbed my attention. Strange effect. Can't do a great deal more than that. So we've got a fair bit of rubbish on the floor. Got what looks like water. But there's either side of you've got rubbish and you've got a sort of almost clear path leading up to the light. I wish I could drop down a little bit more, but that's not going to work. Nor is that picture, so it doesn't matter so much. Again, going to pick up some stuff while I can. And there's things that I take photos of in this game are predominantly plants, people, and architecture. Zoom out a little bit, drop that down. So, not a massively great picture, in all honesty, so let's see if we can reframe. Obviously not. It's quite a nice strong red there. But this lady is the only character we have. Let's make things a bit more interesting.
Incoming backup request.
Right, so now this has gone into action mode. Let's line up the shot. Zoom right out. So she's coming this way. I'm going to line up and give myself a bit of time. Now it's quite rare for the bloom effect to do anything good. So the muzzle flash, that can cause troubles. But either way, I think I have exhausted the pictures there, so let's clear these guys up. These people rush you, so it's always a good idea to get rid of those. And last but not least, okay, so now it's safe to have a look around. See if there is anything mildly interesting. And yes, I am going for a pose at the moment. Shame I can't go far enough. So there wasn't anything of interest there. The light's hitting that fairly well, but it's just a pile of wood. So the things that I'm contemplating right now is either going to a dark zone or going to New York. Now New York, because there is a lot of fascinating architecture in there. And a dark zone because I very rarely do. But I just want to explore here a little bit more, because you've got things like this monkey in a throne, which is just such a fantastic concept. A little bit too crowded that way. Even worse that way. There's a fair bit of light on that Christmas tree, but we lose a lot. I'm just drawing everything in, exploring different angles. But really what I'm trying to do is get a sense of scale for the teddy bear. Or, yeah, I'm going to go with teddy bear. I'd say that's what that is. Slight drop back. And let's actually work on the blur as well. Have a bit more exposure. Contrast I'm going to flatten. And because I've messed around with the light settings, so the exposure and the contrast, I'm just reducing the saturation slightly. There does appear to be some grid texture there, which I don't believe is intended. So let's see if it goes away by decreasing the... No. Okay, so that is almost intended. Bring the exposure down. Have it at... Let's reset values. So they're all at 50. No, it is still there at normal settings. So again, I'm just going to increase exposure, reduce the contrast, because eventually I'll be going for the fairly washed out look. I mean, the sky is always already grey, which is quite useful, but then that's because it started raining. With the f-stop, I'm going to blur out the background, but not the tree, hopefully. But I do need to recenter this so that the... I'm going to call it a teddy bear. It's not a traditional one, but it is still a bear. I'm going to zoom out a bit more to get more of the frame. Nope. So I'm going to zoom in a bit more. And then drop down a bit further, maybe. Nope. This is a lot of work for a silly picture, but I may be able to make that work. And there was more experimental than anything else. I like the tripod. But again, I'm not going to force the shot. I'm just going to continue exploring. So we do have a heavy here. I'm concerned about this person here. But while they're not looking at me, let's drop the f-stop. Because we don't particularly have the time to adjust all these things. Especially when these guys start moving. Okay, so I'm at maximum zoom. These guys are bunched together a little bit too closely. If I move across, that breaks the image. There we are. That's what we want. Isolated subject. Spoke too soon. He looks like a great character, that one there. That could have been a picture. Grab it, because you've got him looking away, looking my way. I'm still paying attention to the blonde-haired gentleman. I'm going to come out of this and just wait a moment. Can I get to... I want to get to where my crosshair is, just there. Because I'm a little bit concerned about this character. being able to see me. Oh no, looks like this person's moving. So let's quickly go into photo mode. Why is my camera doing that? Damn. I'm working on framing, but unfortunately the red barrier, I suppose you would call it, doesn't go in my favour. Okay, look my way. Do something interesting, sir. We just need to wait. He keeps looking down. That's very interesting. I wonder if I... Oh, look. See, it's not just me they run away from. And it's... I'm just doing the typical portrait thing. Fill the shot. Oh, just missed him. But what, I've got the two together. And what I'm doing is I'm just holding down the share button. And getting as many shots as possible, because that's quite a pose going on there. Rather like it. See if we can get a different one. I'm rather liking the flower in the background, so I just need him to look in his usual forward and down position. So I am pausing, I'm just waiting. There's a deer in the background, so who can resist that? And I don't know if my camera's disappearing while I'm doing all this. Because it does when I go into the share menu and then click the button. Oh, I've just had one of those ideas. Maybe, yeah. All of these shots have had my little camera in the right hand side in it. So I need to bear that in mind. When framing it. So can I get him between those? No. Oh, you messing with me, man? Okay. Again, this lady's quite interesting, but a bit obscured. Everyone is together. Let's just clear these guys out. I'm targeting her because she's the strongest character. This one is also a bit of a risk. Now you can see she's got a bomb car coming my way. No, it's what we call the lawnmower. And this is called the Scorpio. Ridiculous range for a shotgun. Not overly realistic. Here we are. Don't need to do my health just yet. No, I do need to do my health just yet.
Serious trauma.
Ah,
Agent
I
deceased.
started it. That's fair enough. Okay, let's go to the last stop. It's not really an area of the map I go to that often, so it'd be a good little explore. Let's go through the south exit. And see if we can get some nice architecture pictures as well. So far quite plain, but that's fairly interesting.
Hostile control point detected.
Because I rather like those. I rather like the contrast. So you've got the bright where the sun is hitting it, and then you've got the shadows, but I don't think it makes for an interesting photo. It just makes for a fairly interesting backdrop. It's going to be in front of the G. Ah, again, muscle memory working against me. So, first of all, cannot go that high. Okay. I was looking to see if I could make something a bit interesting. That is still a bit extreme. Just going to pull back a little bit to get that G in there. That doesn't quite work. Let's have him against the shadow. Really, I need him in front of that then. Let's try. Because I want some... Well, I really wanted some light on him, but that doesn't seem to be possible. So let's try this square here. Not quite central. Just realised I've still got some rather snazzy shoes on. Framing him in the shadow, or having the shadow as a background. How does that work? Maybe try a slightly higher shot. I'm going to use his shadows to hide that car. I mean his shoulders, sorry, not shadows. Don't need the shoes, probably don't need the knees. Quite happy with the gun. Being the Scorpio. Again, bit dark. Got an interesting leading line to frame him in there. That doesn't quite work.
Hostile control point nearby.
Going to just... Ooh. I was going to just run past that entrance, but I just want to look in here first. So that's this safe house. That's obviously the other entrance. I was about to set up an action shot and then remembered you cannot pause this world. Because what I was going to do is run past, pause it, go down the alleyway, and get him moving. But instead, I'm going to pause it there, go into photo mode, Use the leaf to some effect. See if there's anything interesting there. So I don't believe there is. I'm going to use this light at the back to frame him somewhat. But the whatever's leaning against the wall is rather blocking that. But I still rather like the idea. So we need to look for something similar. Just want to have a look at these actually. Nothing quite there. That's rather sweet with the love heart there. But again, I'm just bearing in mind that this is going to be a portrait shot. It's not going to be in landscape. Modern democracy in the Western world. Just trying to see if that can make something interesting. Nope. What I'm trying to do is force the frame. So I'm using this wall to really reduce the image. But it is important to have a good subject when you're doing that. So I rather like the blue car. I'm going to see what I can do with that. I'm going to move forward for this nice clean road. Do I want the tree or do I think the building? Rather like the tree. Oops, bit extreme. Slight angle. Now I'm going to have the building upright, but I think with the tree in the background that is quite nice. There's no way I'll be able to crop this car out. But will that be an issue? I don't think so, in all honesty. So I may either just have the building in the background, the whole of the car, and a little bit of the tree. I don't believe that will work. I'm not overly comfortable having the tree near the front of the blue car. However, I could potentially use some of the front of the car in the background, the whole of this car, a tiny bit of the building, and maybe not the top of the tree, but a good portion of it. So see how we get on with that. Just looking at the sign. I'm just looking around. You never know when inspiration will grab you. Faith of Freedom. Also a very good mission in this game is the Lincoln Memorial. There is a famous photographer, Lyson, something like that, who would love this if they could use these windows for subframes. The blue and the red item. I'm not sure if this will work, but I'm going to give it a go. No, it won't. Because what I wanted it to do is to allow me to focus on the actual window itself. But that isn't going to work. So
Hostile control
we're
point
going to move out of
identified.
that. What's that? So we're near a control point. Basically means big fighting area. Not quite a mini raid, but still a fairly interesting bit of combat. Now, I don't know how far I'll be able to get my character back, but I'm going to try this. I mean, get the camera back. Not far enough. That's a shame. Got an interesting frame there. Quite like the angles. I like the... He looks like the Terminator there. Come with me if you want to live. But I like the creeper on the pillar. I like how his head fits. Oh, jeez. Is within
Medical assistance needed.
the grey ceiling. Really framed him. So we've got visitors. They don't seem all that friendly. And this is why I use a rifle. It's a nice distance weapon. Cannot shoot for toffee today though. And this person is causing me a bit of trouble. So let's set the drone on them. Because what's the point in being a skill build if you actually can't utilise just those? I will help them, of course.
Vital signs critical.
I'm trying to get away with not using a health pack, but that doesn't seem to be possible. Just looking around for other areas of interest. Like that. That's kind of cool effect. Not quite a shot, but again, an artifact to look for in a more interesting area. This is actually a control point, so I'm just going to run away. I don't need that control point. It is not crucial for good photography. That's kind of nice. Just trying to frame the hailings. So that much gets obscured by the tree, but I rather like the shadow leading across this image. I need to be quick, the light is failing. So let's just try a few angles. See what we get. Not too sure about that. That's way too extreme. And that's the last of that light. Again, interesting rust effect. I can't resist opening boxes, I do apologise. Excuse me a second. My headset is a little bit uncomfortable, and it's mainly because I've just spent all day with headphones on. I had quite a few long meetings. Oh, wildlife is the hardest thing to take photos of in this game. Quite rightly, everything is scared of you. Because when all the shops close, animals become food. So it's just an interesting bench. Fairly cluttered area. Okay, let's try another side. As you can see, it's the tree that interests me, but I'm using this. I'm going to call it a bench to create a nice subframe because it's quite a sparse sky. I need the wait for the grass to be leaning towards me. I don't want it obscuring the tree, you see. Or at least not too much. Going to pull in a little bit. See if I can give it a bit more space. I'm just going to wait for that cloud to move in a little bit closer. It just gives it another texture more than anything else. It may not work, but it could be amazing. So I hope you will bear with me. If you have any questions while we're waiting, or, well, that's just told me when that's not going to work. Well, I was rudely interrupted, but either way, I do hope you're all keeping well. I hope you're looking forward to your weekends. I hope none of you are working on the weekends, because I know that pain. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Now, this person's scouting. So I like that little tree there. I'm not going back for the cloud shot. I have got a nice one, and it was a really good grey background. But sometimes you have some really lovely areas up high. Cannot get down there. Very curious about that, though. This guy looks cool.
Incoming backup request.
Okay, let's just wait. Love what they've done to the gun. Again, that may be a glitch, but what a cool glitch. I'm waiting for him to look at me, or look in my direction with the binoculars, because the wall makes a good negative space. Ah, I just missed it, I think. It was a bad positioning for him. Anyway, generally, wherever they're looking, you want plenty of space in front of them. Which is why I was waiting for this gentleman to stand in front of me. I mean, look roughly in my direction through binoculars.
Serious trauma detected.
Just getting that shot. Give him a bit more space. And again, I'm just giving myself options, looking through the different photos. I think we've lost Matey Boy looking through the binoculars. So there's the control point, the one I kicked off earlier. Some serious fire has been going on over here. So let's see what that's done to the building. Just need to raise a little bit higher. The sun burst is very extreme. And you can't move the sun. So I'm just going to crop a fair bit at the top of the trees. Basically, as much as I can get away with, I will get into this shot. And it's just such a fascinating light. This one may not work, but I'm going to try it anyway. And it's this light here. I rather like it. Something like this. I'm trying to clean up the picture a bit, but that's not quite working. So let's try a different angle. And then we've got that one there, which is far better space. I'm not overly keen on the traffic lights hanging off it. The light isn't as fetching. Maybe cannot get any higher. Well, there's a dog there. Also surprisingly difficult to take a photo of, so give ourselves some open space. See if it walks across. I don't think it will. I think I've missed that opportunity. It must be around here somewhere. Maybe. Can I find an interesting frame? No, I cannot. Can I find the dog? No, I cannot. And this is a characteristic of games where you cannot pause them, is it's a lot of waiting around and planning. Just for the thing to disappear completely. Because there's definitely not a dog there. It'd be great if I could capture a bird as well. Take a photo of a crow or something interesting like that. But so far, there is nothing. Of course, it went in a different direction. I like the rather Devil May Cry approach to how that one was firing a gun. Something was moving me then. Ah. Nope. Too slow. But again, this is all just practice. I like the idea of using this frame. Oh, got a headshot in the background then. What's this guy doing? So we've lost that one. See what this one does. Not everything goes your way. Where are they now? There's one up there. Way too far to be able to compose into a shot. Nope. That's one of our guys over here, so I suppose I should really help clear these guys up. Cannot see clearly enough though, that makes it challenging. Thin the herd a bit. I'll just send the drone to do a bit of work. Really, I want this one to stand up so I can engage the drone on him, but I can use it on this technician for a moment. I finished off the job.
Fucking hell!
Hell yeah! Let's have a look up here actually. I don't think I've ever examined this building. Instantly got a fascinating statue. What can we do with this? So close seam does not work so well. I may need to reposition myself actually. Let's get about here, I think. Nope, need to move a little bit more, but I'm liking this. Maybe a bit higher. We'll wait for that cloud to move a little bit. Quite a bit, actually. And then I'll be able to take the photo. And it does give me opportunity to wet the old whistle. Because I have been talking for well over an hour now. Okay, let's just increase exposure a bit. Decrease the contrast. And again, that is just my own personal preference. I'm not going to do too many adjustments because I do most of those out of game. So I do it post-production. Yes, I was getting a little bit weary of the cloud. So I've just taken the picture before I lose what I was going for, light-wise anyway. We've got a nice golden light here, but it's got a salmon-like quality to it. But as this is somewhere I've not been before, and I seem to be collecting loads of lovely stuff, I will continue looking round. And see if there's anything that catches my eye. I mean, that's quite a fascinating sky, actually. But can't really use it by the looks of it. There's not any subject that's positioned to take advantage of it. Maybe. Maybe something like that. With the tree there, maybe we could possibly incorporate it like this. That could actually be quite good. Because the lamppost gives the tree scale. The skies, although it's more of a neutral background, like a secondary element. I mean, the tree being a secondary element, but the sky in the background had been a good blank canvas, really. Got our characters patrolling the area, making sure it's safe. So I can continue looking for anything that is remotely interesting. Like beers, a deck chair and a campfire. Some very interesting elements. Can I frame it in a good way though? What I'm trying to do You just clean up the shot a little bit. So one beer bottle, one chair, and the campfire. As much as I can get away with was pretty much how I had it. Now I'm guessing an awful lot because my little camera's in the way. Really, I'd like the beer bottle about here. And that's the one at the front. And or even about there. See, that doesn't make for a good picture because we need to be included in that scene. So doing this, the campfire will be out of shot because you have to think portrait-wise. It's about half of the screen, maybe a third of the screen. So I'll be surprised if I can make that into a coherent picture, but I've taken a few shots of it. Hopefully I'll find one that I like. But either way, we've got some great light for these baddies. Now, they have clearly seen me.
Reloading.
Don't think there's anyone in there.
Stand back.
Yeah, we're very, very close to that control point, and I think that's why it's so busy around here.
Hostile control point.
I'm just going to hide here, because I don't think these people have seen me yet. About there. And then we're going to go for them walking away. That chair is a little bit of a nuisance, but hopefully I caught it at the right moment. So, what we got was a lot of dead trees, a statue of a dead person, and fairly nice lamppost, and oh my gosh, there are a lot of patrols around here. I think I've been seen. I know. I was half expecting these guys to come at me. Give it another try. Now you got space. Oh, of course. Come on. So what I'm looking for now is also just a play on light more than anything else. But I'm not keen on how they're bunched together. So I like the light that she has. How it affects the mask and just brings out some of the face. I can't zoom in any more than that. I waited too long. This is another interesting character. So I'm not ready to kill them yet, but I think they're actually going to go away now. We'll watch them No. I was just waiting to see if one of them would look my way. But I'm liking this. So let's see if we can get a interesting picture of this.
Agent in need of backup.
Is that light important? Right, so I was down here. I think that's the angle that makes it the most appealing. So what I want is the light shining on the police station. I want it being looked at this angle. So I'm just going to be cropping on the left-hand side of the picture. Oh, sorry, Jeffa Joe. I'm on stream. Otherwise, I would help you out. Cute little tree. Let's look at the statue with a tyre on it, because when society falls down, you've got to entertain yourself somehow. I think I've been in here an awful lot. And there's no way I would be able to go in here, for example. I mean, I'm going to try it, but I don't believe... no, I cannot extend far enough. I was hoping to get to the other side of the glass. Have a silhouette. I do not know why this is so uncomfortable at the moment. Well, while I'm here, I might as well take some bullets. I have been here, and I have taken extensive photos, which are on Instagram, if you're interested. I'm King of Etiquette on there as well. All one word. That's cool. Ugh. It's not my character I'm interested in. Need to be a bit closer, which is not ideal. Ugh. Not really anything I can do with that. I'm nothing if not persistent. I'm not going to get the height I want. Potentially. No, I'm most certainly not going to get the height I want. I'm not going to get the position I want. So let's try just an interesting angle and see how I can capture this. Because really it's just the tiles that I want. It's getting a part where the plant isn't coming through. Okay. No, I do not believe there's a shot there. Shame, it would have been nice, but wasn't meant to be. Now this is one of those homage to the developer type photos. Someone's gone to the effort to draw this, so I'm going to have a look. I cannot get high enough to utilize it. It's a shame, it would have been nice. These guys and girls make a tremendous amount of effort to make a beautiful game. And I like to do these little nods and find the little nuggets that they hid away. The little gems that I'm sure they're proud of. I can't resist. I'm only human. This is a great light. Really is. Do I like that? I don't know if I do. We've got the old orange and teal thing going on fairly well there with the background, but the light bleed is pretty extreme. Don't look at me. Cannot get any further back than that, so that negates that idea. It's a shame, but you find that with a lot of these sort of games, is you're very limited in your movement. And it's because they don't want you looking around corners and seeing where the danger is before you've encountered it. So it's a necessary evil, let's just say. But if all you're interested in is taking a few photos, it is quite limiting. So I don't particularly want to use this. Because you can see it's got a very strange field of view going on. Cannot go any further than that. I was taking a photo. Bad warhound. Well, let's get them where I want them. He says shooting his own decoy. By the way, while they're looking at him, they are not shooting at me. That's one threat down. If you've ever done Iron Horse, not Iron Horse, Dark Hours, you'll be getting flash PTSD from old Lucy. Yeah, I've drugged myself as well, that's quite annoying, but well, it's a pretty area, so I can see why it's popular. Bit annoying for me though. I'm just going to let my drone do the rest of that. Why look at this lone tree? I need to move again because the box ruins it. I was trying to get to a position where I could utilize it, but unfortunately that didn't happen. We'll try here though. We've got quite a few interesting particles going on, particle effects going on. And fair bit of that, but we're going to move it on to okay, cannot focus on that. Okay, I know. Some extent that works. Let's drop the f-stop. Oh, sorry. We've got our main focus there. It just blends into the background. There wouldn't be anything I could do about that. So let's see what matey boy over here dropped. Nothing interesting. I just realised having this game world on heroic may not be the best idea for virtual photography. It would certainly explain why there are so many bad guys. And I'm not going to show my complete ignorance of geography by trying to say what that flag is. But I do not believe it to be American. I've already got that picture. Well, I did say about going to a dark zone, and we've just found ourselves at one. So let's go in and have a bit of an explore. This is where the PvP happens, and I'm not a PvP player. It doesn't interest me in the slightest. But just for a bit of a change, I'm going in here. Change of scenery, that is. Because New York, I have been to a tremendous amount, and I've been around Washington an awful lot. Let's say New York, I think, is the more interesting out of the two. Oh, we're straight into rogues.
Access complete.
I'm not quite sure why they're able to be in here and not get shot, but either way, I'm running away. They left me be, so I'm happy with that. They're most likely waiting for other people. I was looking at the building at the far end with the ivy hanging off it, seeing if that would make something interesting. Can I climb up here? Cannot get over here, which is annoying. Because that's quite nice. But I do not want this thing in the way. That's too cropped. Let's get a bit closer.
Ambush detected.
Oh man. So not too bad for a skill build, eh?
Gear detected.
Excuse me. Ah.
Immediate medical assistance needed. Agent down. Agent
And this
vital
is
signs
just a
0.
part of the Dark Zone. I mean, it's not been the most popular area. It certainly wasn't as good as the first Dark Zone. And even though I didn't participate in the PvP there, I know it was a better experience. These guys are really starved of targets, so you can't
Entry
take it
location
personally.
guarded by hostiles. Now entering an invaded dark zone.
I just need to remember where I was going. So, most likely I've lost the light that enticed me to that alleyway with the street lamps. But that may actually prove a blessing, you don't know. But I know that on top of that car, or van, sorry, I was able to get a good angle. I think it was about there. So capture that. And while I'm here, let's have a look down, because I'm curious about that piece of graffiti that I've just taken a picture of. Wow, that's a bit strange. Trying to get it to frame a little bit better. I don't really need me in the picture. Bit higher just to have that line lead towards it. Again, this is mainly a picture of light. Well, all photography is pictures of light. That's kind of what you do. No, I think I am going to have another attempt. Now I'm putting the light over here because It's diffused quite well by the... You can see it moved along, but putting it there sort of diffuse it from the picture quite well. But the problem is I wanted to capture that and this. And that would be an angle to do it in. But then the reflection comes across. So this may be a, if I can remember it, come back to later. It's got a strange yellow hue about it, but this is an infected area. So that's most likely what it's trying to portray. Got some enemies here. Wouldn't quite expect Black Tusk, but that would explain why we were able to... sorry, where the rogues were able to hang out in the base. Because invaded you can. Getting focused on this one, he's my biggest threat 'cause he's on my flank. Well, for a skill build, I've got a fair bit of damage. So we managed to survive that, but we didn't get any pictures, which is a shame. I do not know my way around here at all. I am quite lost. That's quite plain. So I don't like this light. I find it a little bit too extreme, but if you look in different directions, it's almost... So look with it to the back to you.
Called for.
It has a nice muted effect on the trees. So even when you do have poor lighting conditions or harsh lighting conditions, there are a way around it. I mean, being English, I'm just used to grey, very muted lighting. Definitely this year. I have very rarely seen a blue sky this year. And I know to some extent that's because I work and therefore don't get to appreciate the nice weather, but generally we have had very, very poor weather. I like the statue. I'm worried it will blend into the background, so I'm actually going to put her over the green bits. So we've got this stonework to contrast her
Extraction
against.
Evo. Almost within range.
Going to give up on the getting the entire wing in there, because as you can see, that's the only real angle I'd be able to do that, and I lose a lot of the detail. So frame her head there.
Hilo is on
Can I
site.
drop? No, I cannot drop down. I think that is the only position. Now, as you can see, she's sort of fading into the green there, so I'm going to move her forward a touch, just to give her a bit of a grey background. Bit of a strange angle, but I'm going to grab that. Because if you always do it at human eye level, everyone's seen human eye level because that's how we view the world. So by doing it at different angles, different heights and so on, sometimes you can make a mundane image into something quite fascinating. I'm not saying that's what that's going to be, but I am still very much in the early stages of learning how to be
Extraction
a
on hold.
photographer.
Hilo almost at extraction zone.
I have a
Hilo
lot more
arrived.
videos and a lot more studying to do. In fact, before this this stream, I was watching a video on composition. Now, normally I wouldn't take a photo of a dead person, ignoring the fact I took a picture of a dead person that my drone had killed, but it's more that the dumbbell, and he's obviously was working out. We've got the shadow leading up to him, which is quite interesting. Not really any way to maximize this. I'm going to do this
Hilo is
angle.
headed back.
Because yes, the main focus was this shadow leading up to the dumbbell, him highlighted by the where you've basically got the white part framing him fairly well. He's fairly central to that. I could also make it very closer like that, which I think is actually a better picture. So I'm going to take that now. Because a lot of what I've learned about photography is it's not so much what the subject is, even though that is still a crucial part of it. Other aspects are the visual language that you use, but it's also what you include and what you take out of a picture. So yes, that leading line of the shadow, which is a visual pattern, was good, and I liked the grass as well. So it's a nice contrast against the blankness of the concrete. Actually, I'm going to see if I can focus on that as well. See if I can isolate it a little bit. In a meaningful way. Which I can't. But either way, it actually turned out better to be slightly rotated higher up and where the light was. So it's much more cropped in, but it's got all the elements that you need. You've got the dumbbell, the beefcake, and there was a little bit of leading line to
Hilo
him,
is
but not
returning to
enough to
base.
really be considered a pattern. Now this circle means that this should be a safe house. It is a safe room, yeah. I don't remember it, but that's not enough reason to go into it. We are in the dark zone after all, so we're going to explore instead of going somewhere safe. And I am still looking for these for something interesting. I'm wondering if he makes a good silhouette, actually. No. And it is quite a strong light, so I don't really need to do techniques like that. On a grey day, that sort of thing's very good. If you're using a mobile to take photo, that sort of idea is good. Being in a dark area and having light on the outside, because Mobile phone cameras are great for high contrast shots. Just experimenting. I like this contrast here. I'm keeping it quite clean, so that's why I'm removing these tiles here. But it's not a particularly interesting window, which is a shame because that would have really made it. I'm now looking just to see if I wasted my time or not. I don't think I have. I'm going to take that. See if I can straighten it to make it a bit more interesting. I think
Extraction
that's
called
straight.
for.
Although that's closer. It's getting a bit dark, so I'm taking that shot and we're going to move on. And that was a simple trick of just using a wall as an aid to framing. You can also use it for scale as well. So say for example I come to here, move back, come to the side there. That truck is a little bit more in context. No. Rather like that. But
Extraction helo. Almost within range.
I need to move back a bit. What I saw there was I liked the grill pattern, but to give me space to do that zoom, which really sort of narrows the depth of
Helo arrived.
field. What I'm trying to say is it brings the background closer to the foreground, but I cannot think of the terminology. As I said, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on photography, but it doesn't necessarily mean I remember it all. I don't think I'm going to be able to incorporate this into this picture. And I don't think it stands out on its own. Little bit of foreground, maybe. Have that in the bottom right third. This is going to be a layered picture. How successful that layered picture is, I don't know. But effectively, we're going to use the white edge on where I am. The shadow of the side of the wall highlights the give us some love. You've got a little bit of shadow on the, I assume to be an air conditioning unit. You've also got the cable across, so it's very busy, but there's so many angles there. And I may not even use all of the give us some love or anything like that. I haven't decided yet, because the side of that building was quite interesting. Oh, forgot about that. But I'm not here to get Dark Zone Tech or Division Tech or... I can't remember what it's called. Dark Zone Resources. So they are more than welcome to it. I am here for seeing if I can get something pretty. Well, that's for... I haven't got a clue what that is. It looks like a pump of some sort. Very interesting. I like that. Just such a simple looking building. Now, although I have the truck here, that's not what I'm going for. I don't want to zoom in because I'll lose the aspects and the height of it. So, but what I'm looking for in this last photo, I like the brick against the white, and I also like the tower block behind it. So I'll be using some of the tower block, the front of the building, so the three windows above the security camera, and the front of the building,
Incoming cargo plane with dark zone drop.
and the crop will end where the tree branches sort of coming out. So it'll actually not include the tree at all. And that's where I'm going for. But either way, it is now 10 o'clock English time. And that's time for me to end the stream. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I will, as always, be making a video out of this stream. And also including me editing these photos, cropping them down, ready for Instagram, which I will endeavour to get them onto Instagram tonight. If not, it'll be tomorrow morning. But either way, I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope I've given you some inspiration. I'm certainly not at a level where I can teach you anything, but if I can give you some ideas, then I'll be happy with that. I'll be on next week. I am toying with the idea of Ghost of Tsushima, because it is a very beautiful game, and there's a lot of interesting things that I don't feel I've utilized before in photos. So that will be the game next week. But that's enough of me talking. Just leaves me to say goodbye, have a great weekend, and I hope to see you soon.